Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the robot Damashii Guncannon Anime. So as I mentioned before, last time I reviewed the HGUC Guncannon Revive, which was mainly for the reason to review the robot Damashii version Anime. Although once again, I'm pretty sure there wasn't a non-anime version of the Guncannon in the robot Damashii line, so I think this could be the first. But either way, um, ever since I started collecting robot Damashis, I kind of fell in love with a lot. I mean, a lot of like Federation mobile suits for anime stuff. And one thing I have gotten up to the Guncannon. Now I also have the Gym anime, and I'm waiting for my paycheck so I can go pre-order the Gym Sniper 2 anime. Although that Gym Sniper 2 anime is a kind of a interesting case where because it has a non anime version. So let's see what I can do with that. But anyway, here we have the review. So right off the bat, this is a figurine. This is not the HGUC version, so I'm not reviewing the Guncannon kit twice in a row. But here we have the product. And before I actually go on to the review, I think I want to start with the side-to-side comparison right off the bat. So as you can see, comparing with the HGUC Revive version, you can see the color is kind of different. While the HGUC version has this really bright red tomato color, the Robot Damashii version has actually this more dark red color. So that's one of the main differences. Even the yellow is kind of more darker than the kit, and it's kind of shorter than the Robot Damashii is kind of shorter than the HGUC kit, but the main reason is that the Sai is kind of shorter than the HGUC kit. The Sai is kind of longer than that, so I think that's mostly the main reason for the height. And then the cannons are also kind of different because while the HGUC version has this extra detail on the middle of the cannon, the Robot Damashii version doesn't actually have such detail, so that's one thing. And then the antennas are more sharper for the Robot Damashii, and they're actually spread up, while the HGC version, not so sharp, and it is spread out, but not too much compared to the Robot Damashii version. I guess the main reason why there's such difference is that I believe this is more based on its own drawing, the original art style, while this is more based on its refined art style. So that's one of the main reasons why we're seeing such differences. I guess the best example would be like kind of how the Master Grade Gym 2.0 and Arc 78 2.0 was built, because it's more based on the original drawing. So I guess this is one of those cases as well. Alright, so as usual, let's talk about the components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Guncannon mold suit itself. And I'm currently using the multi-purpose hand on the right hand, and then a different posing hand for the left. So that's what I'm currently attached to, using on the figurine so I can save time. And here we have all the components that you're supposed to get right over here. So let's talk about the hands. Oops, I may have touched the hand. So number one, we get a trigger finger. We get two trigger fingers for left and right, but you're mostly going to use the right or the left, depending on which hand you want to have the beam rifle on. So that's that. We have the Guncannon's beam rifle, and that's a very nice, instead of a yellow, they did a gold painting on the scope, and the scope does move as well, like that. And unlike the HGUC version, we have the front section that actually can move as well, I believe. Yeah, I'm actually checking the HGUC version, and yeah, the HGUC version does not actually move, so we have that part. And we have the hand storage system, which, you know, pretty much every Robot Damashii for anime has provided. And like other Robot Damashii versions, this also does provide a extra antenna for the head, which I'm very, very thankful for, because I'm always worried that I'm going to break a V-fin or a antenna, and I can always know that the Robot Damashii would provide a extra set. Of course, I believe there were some cases where they didn't, so I'm not sure what's the main criteria. Anyway, for hands, for some odd reason, they give out the hands that are meant to store or hold the beam saber hands, because the Guncannon does not actually have any beam sabers for some reason. But yeah, so that's kind of odd to have these kind of hands with the Guncannon. And we have some open hands for left and right, mostly for like poses and to do that special pose where the Guncannon is lying on the ground firing its cannon. That's that. And then here we have the other multi-purpose hand, and then the other hand for this hand. So that's that. And then we have some thruster effect parts right over here. Now they're kind of smaller than your usual thruster effect parts, because these thruster effect parts weren't really meant for the feet. But of course, if you have these thruster effect parts, you can put them on the feet. I'm not sure what these square holes are for. And then also on the backpack, but these ones are mostly meant for these small holes in on the back, because these are, believe it or not, these also are thruster parts. So depending on how you want to do it, or depending on what position, you can change the angle. So yeah, you get 2 of those. So yeah, better than nothing. Because I believe, once again, Bandai kind of like encourages you to buy especially the Jimber anime, because it comes with a ton of thruster effect parts. So we have those 2. And then we have the sticker decal sheet. Once again, kind of similar to the HGUC version. We get a 108 large and small, and then 109 large and small, and then 203 large and small stickers. That's all we get for this one. And then we have these effect, well, not effect, but we get also these small grenade parts that can be stored in multiple ways and can be actually held by the hand, which I will demonstrate later for the holding part and the storaging part. And finally, we get some effect parts for the cannons. These were mostly the main reason that kind of got me into buying these. Ever since I got into the Anime Robot Damashii figures, I really fell in love with the effect parts that can be attached to the figurines, and all the effect parts. Some were very nice, like the bazooka effect part, like from the prototype Gundam. So yeah. So anyway, let's get on to the review. Now I could just like skip the articulation, but once again, I don't really consider the Robot Damashis and the HGC kit to be exactly the same. So yeah. Okay, as usual, let's start with the head. The head, like most Damashii figures, the head is pretty well colored. We even got the Vulcans colored up. The red part obviously a separate piece, I think. And then we have all these panel line stuff, and the visor is your clear green plastic piece. Very nice. And then the head can go down that much, which isn't really much, but for up it can go a good amount. And then 360 twist, once again, like the HGUC version, you're going to have to work your way through or force it around, but I don't think it's really possible for this one. And then for the cannons, as expected, it can go up 180, well, I mean up 90 degrees or front 90 degrees, so that's a 90-degree angle for the movement. And for the body, I would like to mention another aspect which I didn't really care for. Now, the Robot Damashii version actually the cockpit section looks like it's pushed in, unlike the HGUC version. So that's once again a kind of an interesting design aspect which I wasn't really aware about. Now, technically, you can sort of slightly pull it out, but it doesn't really make a big difference. I think that mostly this is because of the original art style design, and maybe for the articulation regarding the figure. So it has a very nice ab crunch, very big ab crunch, which is very nice. And then 360 twist on the body, not possible once again because there's a lot of stuff blocking its way. Okay, and now before going on to the arms, let's get the backpack. The backpack, very simple looking, and we have a lot. So the thruster areas you can put your effect parts are here, as I mentioned, and then on the backpack itself. So that's very nice. And I keep forgetting to mention, is that there is a hole for an action base for the Robot Damashii figure. So please keep that in mind. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing that actually moves around the backpack. Now, the articulation on this is very good because unlike normal Robot Damashis that's just like on a ball joint or something, this actually has your forward and backward movement for the shoulders. So that's very nice. And then the arm can go 90 degrees to the side, and since it's something on it, I don't think it's on a ball joint, it's more on a peg sort of thing. But it can go 360 if you want to do so. And then it has a nice double jointed bend, and the hands are your typical Robot Damashii connectors, where there's a plastic ball joint on the arm instead of the hand. So that's kind of a different part like this. So we have the hole, and the ball joint is on the hand. And also you do have this wrist movement that moves in on the inside, so that's another extra articulation. So yeah, it's kind of really hard to figure out what this is. Or okay, it's not actually on the peg. The peg is not going outside. It looks like it's going inside, as far as I can tell. Okay, so now let's look at the waist section. The waist section, we have this nice yellow color. The front skirt are separated, unlike HGUC kits. So that's how it works. And then, oh come on, camera. Sorry about that. And then the side skirt doesn't really move that much. Back skirt doesn't move as well. And then the legs, they can go forward 90 degrees. And then a nice double jointed bend. Of course, because of the design, it can, if it weren't for the design, it would go more, but that's how it is. And the knee, look at the knee movement on there. That's very nice, and it has a nice side swivel going on here. Of course, it is it. Yeah, there is a bit of side swivel, but it doesn't really move like 360 because of the design, but still moves a good amount, and then doesn't go 90 degrees because the connection here itself is on a ball joint, so that's kind of sad. Or not sad, but I guess it's enough for this, because I don't think you would ever have a situation where you would do a yoga split on the mobile suit. Okay, so that's that. And your feet, they have a very nice ankle. I'm not sure if this is considered an ankle movement, but yeah, you have a nice wide movement regarding the feet and a nice pivot. I think that's what they call it. All right, so that's enough for the articulation. And I also forgot the arms also have their own 360 twist, so that's very nice. Okay, now let's look at the equipment. So first of all, the beam rifle. Nothing too special regarding that. It's your typical beam rifle for the Guncannon, which has the moving handle up front and the moving scope. So once again, the way how you connect the weapon to the hand is not the way you do it on HGUC kits. You just need to jam it in there. I keep saying that, but that's as far as I can tell. And you have to jam it into that small ball joint as well for the connection. And once you have it on, it's pretty okay. I mean, it could be a little bit wobbly, but still it gets the job done. All right, and then we have the cannon effect parts. So the two effect parts you get, they're actually on a different length. I would have preferred if they were like different lengths, but oh well. So I guess this was more meant for the effect part, as in the case where it's not firing two cannons like together at the same time, but rather in a sequence. So first they fire it first and then second. So maybe that's more of the case for this one. But yeah, very nice effect parts. Very nice effect parts. Of course, when you try to take a picture, these effect parts could cover up the face, so you need to be on a pretty specific angle when you're taking pictures, I guess. And they just connect on inside that small hole with those pegs on it. So that's pretty much it for the effect parts. And then finally we get the grenade parts. Now these grenades I believe you can get these in terms of master grade. The master grade did have them. However, the interesting part is that the way you store it. The first place where you can store it is on the back skirt. You have these two holes. You have this square peg. It's not rocket science. You just need to plug it in, and you can store it on the back skirt, which is okay. Because sometimes we see in movies where the main character is like storing grenades on its belt or waist, which as mentioned, you can also store the grenade on its waist armor, which is fine. Up to this point, that's pretty much fine, but this is the part where I kind of got, because you can also plug it into the side of the leg, which is okay. That's okay. I mean, I guess that's possible, but the master grade version actually had this place open up and you can store the grenade in it. So, but this one's just connecting it to the leg, which I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you could, but wouldn't this leave the mole suit pretty vulnerable? Because if someone fires something to this grenade, wouldn't that like damage the leg or something? But either way, there's three ways you can store these in. So you can either put on the back of the waist, or side of the waist, or on the leg. So those are all your options. And that's pretty much it for the review. Now, once again, this is a Robot Damashii figure. If you don't think you really need to pay that much for this, there's always the HGUC version, which is also very fine and pretty much has a good amount of articulation. So it's really up to you. Now, since I started collecting Robot Damashii figures, I really love how this turned out. Despite there are some differences such as color, proportions and whatnot, it really depends on your taste. So anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the Robot Damashii Guncannon Revive anime. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more kits and figures to buy and build and review, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time!